This is Film Mojo. I'm sure you guys are familiar with Watch Mojo. There's also Film Mojo. Film Mojo. It's a really good name for a YouTube channel, Film Mojo. They have created a comprehensive list of times that Judge Judy destroyed perverts.
Douglas, I've read your complaint. I've read your response, Miss White. What I gather, sir, is that you rented a room from the defendant.
That's correct.
And
Dude, these shows suck. These shows are so boring because it's always some like weird interpersonal dispute, and it's like you owe her money because you were her landlord because you met through your step cousin's niece. You pay the defendant $200. It's just not. It's not interesting. But this is when she destroys perverts, at least. God damn it.
Came untenable there. You moved out.
Yes, ma'am.
And you're suing the defendant for $5,000.
Yes.
The case of Douglas versus White seems like a regular tenant versus landlady, but with a twist of sexual and mental harassment.
You rented him a room. You say he moved out owing you a month's rent because he didn't give you 30 days notice. So you're
So this is like real court, right? This is like real civil court cases. So that's what's like more interesting.
suing him for $5,000.
Judge Judy does not know what is going on just by reading the case. She's determined to find out.
When I went to apply for the room, I asked for no drinking, no smoke, or little smoking.
Okay, so what happened?
The first
He asked for, well, I asked for a little smoking. Hey, can you please smoke just a little bit?
it was pretty calm. Thereafter, it just got worse.
How did it get worse?
Mr. Douglas claimed he lived in untenable conditions.
I mean, this guy does look like a pervert. I'll give you that.
Defendant fought with her roommate constantly in the middle of the night. They get drunk and fight, beat each other up. This was happening every night.
However, he could not leave the house because he had no money.
What do you mean you couldn't afford to?
I'm on a fixed income, and it was costing me $450 a month to live there. I didn't have enough money to move. I just could not afford to move.
So what are you suing the
So what are you suing the defendant for? What do you mean? He like had no rights, and this wasn't like an official landlord situation. Like Judge Judy should know what he's suing her for.
the defendant for $5,000 for?
Judge Judy cuts off Douglas's testimony halfway. Some things don't seem to add up in his testimony.
Because she didn't take it. The money that I paid her was supposed to go as part of the rent or part of the mortgage payment. It never got paid.
What does that have to do with you? You're
I
giving her
went in there,
$450. I'm trying to figure out.
What? Why is she like immediately siding with the landlord who is like supposedly getting drunk and like beat? Like you have to like, if it's a courtroom, you have to assume that he's telling the truth. You're not allowed to be like, I don't believe you. I don't know if Judge Judy is even a real judge. She is a real judge.
Where this $5,000 number came from?
Judge Judy starts to think that he has no cause of action to back up his $5,000 claim.
How come the electricity got shut off?
Because he took over control of my house. He told all the tenants because I got notice of trustee sale because I'd been trying to save my house after divorce.
Mr. Douglas, in a bid to defend his claim, mentions at some point his electricity got cut off.
He got all the tenants together and said, you don't have to pay rent, you don't have to pay any utilities. And they didn't at that point. They all
Hell
stopped.
yeah.
Why?
Dude, he did like a tenant strike. That's based. That's awesome. What? Like, of course she's pissed about
Did
that.
he tell the people that they didn't have to pay rent?
Because he
and
said
utilities?
because my house was being supposedly foreclosed and it didn't.
Miss White counters with revelations about what, or rather who, caused the power to get cut off.
I understand this. You found out, sir, that the house was in foreclosure.
He took...
Just a minute. You found out that the house was in foreclosure.
Yes.
The circumstances around what led to the power cut are heavily disputed by both parties.
And you had a conversation with the
See, like this shit is so like it's so boring. I don't care who's responsible for the electricity bill.
other tenants that if the house was in foreclosure, they didn't have to pay.
No.
That's incorrect. I'm sorry.
Who are you?
I'm the witness. I lived in the household at the same time.
Okay.
How are you?
The witness to the case, Diane Roosh, interrupted the testimony of Miss White, and Judge Judy allows it.
Why are they standing in front of microphones if they're wearing microphones?
Did you pay electric?
Yes, ma'am.
You have your proof of that?
I did not bring that. I didn't know I was going to be on trial myself.
Judge Judy gives the witness a chance to help her clarify the facts of the case.
When this person moved out, they owed me 2.5 months out of the 4 months they were there. And I'm suing.
This
yes,
lady.
that person right there owes me over 2.5 months. They didn't pay diddly squat to me. And they moved in with this guy.
You have proof?
The landlady states that even the witness calls falsehood, but her proof is conveniently in Sacramento.
Are you currently living with him?
Yes, ma'am.
Not with. We're sharing an apartment.
The former minister does not want to say that he lives with a woman. So instead, he says that he does not leave with her, but he lives with her.
He doesn't leave. Oh. He didn't need to explain that joke. That just made it more confusing.
I want that.
I still don't know where we get $5,000 from, Mr. Douglas.
Yes, very confusing stuff.
The electricity was shut off. She shut it off. It wasn't shut off because of the thing.
Yeah, she was terrorizing her tenants. Like, you can claim emotional damages for that. Like, what the fuck? Be able to get paid whatever you want. You fucking suffered. Pain and suffering money.
I had to have it turned back on.
So,
Judge Judy still cannot see any reasons
The editing is really funny.
that justifies the former minister's huge $5,000 lawsuit.
She stole several
much
of
money.
my own personal things
Like
from
what?
me. I have a list. Would you like to see it?
sure.
Mr. Douglas then claims theft against
These people look like they're from the fucking 50s. Like, what? Why do they both look like this?
A miniature pulpit?
Why are we this far in and we have no idea why he's a pervert? I feel like this video is very biased.
Just say, I
Sure.
tell you what,
In
just say
kitchen.
yes. Just say yes that you have it, okay? Sorted couch pillows.
No.
Lavender blanket.
No.
A year's worth of new magazines.
Left in room.
Footstool.
My property.
The minister's list mixes weird items that do not add up to the plaintiff's claim. Judge Judy pauses once more and asks Mr. Douglas how he came up with his $5,000 claim.
Couldn't afford to.
That's not her fault.
Well, it is her fault.
No, sir. She didn't charge
She
you. She didn't
guaranteed
charge
me
you.
something when I moved in there, Your Honor, and she didn't fulfill that agreement. And I have a witness to that, too, or from the other witness.
What do you mean? Like, she shut the power off on him. What is going on? They just don't believe him.
I don't read statements from witnesses.
Judge Judy does not want
I don't read statements from witnesses. What kind of judge is this? What?
She didn't charge you security. She didn't charge you first and last. You didn't bring in a whole bunch of stuff according to you. And if you couldn't afford to move out, she wasn't saying to you, she didn't keep you prisoner there. You could have moved out.
so she decides to hear the counterclaim instead.
But that transition was crazy. But what does that have to do with the power getting shut off? Like, she's not acknowledging that.
I am countersuing for the damage to my room and house.
Of course, landlords always do this shit.
He left the room filthy, and I have pictures of how the room was left and the stuff he left in the room here. If you care to see
Hell
some of
yeah.
that, may I?
Judge Judy lets Mr. Douglas know the deprivation of happiness is not actionable in a court of law. Ms. White claims both sexual and mental harassment. Judge Judy is glad to stop hearing the testimony of Mr. Douglas.
The mental and sexual harassment.
Well,
he-
you can
he
tell
won't-
me about that.
First of all, when he left,
Ms. White's proof is an ungodly letter sent by the former minister.
and then the day after that,
Former minister.
on the 9th, he sends me this threatening, harassing note. And he
Show it
ends
to
it
him and see
with a
if
note
he-
with, "Have a nice day. It may well be one of your last."
Ms. White claims the way she was addressed in the letter amounts to sexual harassment.
Dear Charles and Christine.
All of his correspondence has been addressed that way. The
She
small
wrote
claim-
sexual harassment. She circled it.
"Have a nice day. It may well be one of your last."
Like, that's threatening, but what's the sexual harassment? Also, this is such a fucking funny transition.
Ms. White claims the way she was addressed in the letter amounts to sexual harassment.
Dear Charles and Christine.
All of his correspondence has been addressed that way. The small claims
Charles and Christine.
court was addressed that way.
Judge Judy has a look of realization on her face.
Why do you address the mail like this, sir?
Because that's the way I filed it in court, and I wanted the court to know that I didn't
Oh, is
know
she trans?
who this person was.
Like she finally understands what this case is really about.
What? Well, why, sir, would you address mail?
Because I didn't know whose name to send it in, Your Honor.
The case seems to have turned into a gender. Perhaps that is how the whole case started. The former minister
The case turned into a gender? Film Mojo. What's going on?
The case seems to have turned into a gender. Perhaps that is how the whole case started. The former minister
What the fuck does that mean?
can't stand a transgender, even the one that has once tried to help him.
The former minister can't stand a transgender.
Even the one that has once tried to help him.
Even the one that was once tried to help him? What? No way.
Have you officially changed your gender?
Everything, my legal gender, as shown in my driver's license,
Is female.
Yes, it is. Years, about 4 years.
See, but that's fucked up. But that is a separate issue from the, like, you being a landlord that did not provide adequate housing and turned the power off on this man.
Years ago.
Am I correct that the sexual harassment that you are referring to is the fact that he has addressed documents that he's sent out to people using both your female name and the name
My
Charles?
previous married name, yes.
Previous married name. That's so. Oh my god, it's getting more confusing. He put the female name on there though.
Not need the witness to settle the case.
Correctly?
Yeah, also not sexual harassment. I don't know why this whole video is dedicated to this guy being a pervert. That's so fucked up.
Did you just curse in here?
I might have.
Get out.
Yeah, get the hell out of here.
Judge Judy circles back to her original state.
No cursing in this courtroom.
The Mr. Douglas has
No
no valid
cursing.
claim before he thought.
And you didn't. But I think you got a lot of nerve with this. This is pretty vindictive.
Judge Judy questions Mr. Douglas's ministership.
This is pretty vindictive. Just a second. Pretty vindictive and pretty nasty.
He displayed petty and vindictive behavior towards Miss White,
Okay,
which is not
sure.
befitting of a minister.
This having
I still object to her working there. I don't care if it's vindictive or nasty to anybody else.
Wait, working there? What are we talking about now?
He shouldn't be working in a woman's department.
Oh no! He's like really transphobic. I thought he was like making excuses where he's like, I didn't know what name to use, which is like maybe that could be true, but I don't know how we got to this from the landlord situation though.
Judge Judy also lets Miss White know that her other allegations can't be answered in court.
As I ran out
Listen
of
to
money.
me. I'm not entertaining that. The fact that he told other tenants that they did not have to pay rent or utilities, and they listened to him.
Now that's just interrupting, and honestly, I find that rude.
Yes,
because
it
they
did.
because they were stupid. Go after them in a separate action, each one
Yes.
of them for money that they owe you.
I-
What
I-
else?
Judy! Judy said hunt down those tenants. Find them.
Look at me, not her. You.
Who
Did
is
you?
this?
Yes, it was back and forth.
Trump, I didn't ask you back and forth. The answer is either yes or no. Did
Yes,
you
Your
ever
Honor.
take sexy pictures of Faith?
Yes, Your Honor.
How old was she?
Now this guy's a pervert. Yeah, the last guy was just a transphobe. I don't know why they call him a pervert.
15 at the time.
And you took those sexy pictures with your iPhone?
Actually, no, Your Honor.
You took them with
Actually,
what?
no.
It was a previous phone before I had the iPhone.
Judge Judy probes the plaintiff, and he admits having taken some private pictures of his ex-girlfriend's Faith.
His ex-girlfriend's Faith. Who? This is like either mistranslated or AI like written.
She also establishes that under no circumstances such an act allowed, especially with minors.
Understand that you and I understand each other.
How old is this
Somebody
motherfucker?
made it-
He's so creepy. He would take pictures of a 15-year-old. He looks like Ben Shapiro.
The police that you had pornographic pictures of a teenager on your phone.
Yes, and the issue is...
Yes, they did. And as a result of that, the phone was confiscated.
Yes, the previous phone that wasn't stolen.
Fine.
Judge Judy is shocked that anyone would buy Patrick a new phone after his bad use of the last phone.
Yes.
And she still bought you another phone?
I already had the phone when I told her it was a backup phone.
Why are we focusing on this? She's like, and you got another phone. Why are we worried about that right now? What about the girl who was like exploited?
We're shocked to learn that it was not a new phone, but a backup phone.
Both phones.
Yes, I had both
Justice
phones.
said, so if you had both phones, listen, kid, the first thing that somebody does when they get a new iPhone is they transfer all their pictures.
It wasn't.
That's the first thing that they do.
It wasn't an iPhone.
Listen, you had a kerfuffle with
Judge Judy goes further to prove that he had both phones and must have consequently transferred all his pictures, which includes the sexy pictures of Faith he has. Judge Judy is
Don't call them sexy pictures. It's a 15-year-old. Oh my god.
determined to hear the teen's version of the story so she can unravel this sensitive case.
So then he just
Because AI is the pervert. The AI that runs this channel.
She reveals that once she broke up with him, she was blackmailed with sexy pictures he had taken of her.
You
Yes.
that he had taken.
Yes. Is there proof of this?
Yes.
Did you say a word?
Sorry, Your Honor.
You know what the proof is? The proof is that she's saying it. And
Did you say a word?
The mother of the alleged offender tries to be sly and asks for proof, but the judge digs into her. I think Judge Judy got infuriated that she tries to defend someone guilty, even if they are related.
Pictures. That charge was dropped.
I didn't ask you
He
whether.
pleaded guilty for
Well,
having
let me
sex
put it
with
to you.
a minor,
Right.
which is not registrable.
I know
you
all
know,
about
but
it.
it wasn't for the pictures, Your Honor.
She tries to defend him by using the fact that he had admitted to a prior unregistrable carnal abuse.
That's carnal abuse. What the fuck is going on? That defense is insane also. Like, she's like, well, I think he did take sexy pictures. Ugh. I think I was saying it as a joke, but I don't even like that. I think he did take these pictures of a 15-year-old. And I think the reason he did that is because he has prior sexual assault with a minor. And she was like, yeah, well, he admitted to it. So this guy's not a pervert. He's a criminal.
She might as well have been pouring petrol on the fire.
The pictures. But the pictures were there because you know how I know why they were there? Because he told me.
On
Unless
his
you're calling him a
other
liar.
Phone, not the iPhone.
I
that
don't-
was stolen.
Okay.
What?
No, it wasn't.
Let's see those pictures.
No.
What do you... Oh, this shit is so confusing. Oh, my God.
I don't have to show you those pictures.
Judge Judy
Oh, these transitions are awesome.
makes it clear that Miss Atkinson's son had the pictures, even if the phone was consequently seized by the police.
I don't say it was blackmail, but there was a suggestion that he had these pictures because he's 18 and stupid and had the
Hilarious ripoffs of the most popular cartoons. Is this another film mojo?
It seems like everyone has had that one cartoon that defined their childhood.
Who makes this? I usually love every video you guys put out, but I have to say this one was a big flop. I couldn't wait for it to be over. Sorry for unkind words, but I felt I should leave honest feedback.